Hallelujah. YAHUAH. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that Yahuwah made. Let us rejoice and be glad. I feel glad. Hallelujah. I feel glad. AbybYAH. Now you have light, believe in the light, so that you might be a child of light. While you have light, believe in the light, so that you might be his child. I feel glad. We should be rejoicing in the new year. This is Yahuwah's new year. I feel. This is AbybYAH. I feel glad, man. Hallelujah. Wisdom is better than riches, I'm told, yeah. Wisdom is better than gold. Hallelujah. I feel glad. Shabbat shalom, Ma. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Mahoti. I feel glad. Let us rejoice and be glad. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Shabbat shalom. This is Watchman Yahshay, Ben Yahshua. Coming to you on the new year. Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad on Haaretz and the Goyim that's attached themselves to us in the name of Yahuwah. Today, I always say that, but I don't even start. I always say I ain't gonna keep it long, but I'm being impressed by the rule to just share on the new year and how we observe our new year and his new year as well. Regarding the scripts, I know a lot of those who are new in the belief ask about the new year and how we calculate it. And I will make sure I put a link on this one to how we trace the new year and the recording of the new year according to script. With that being said, I will be reading, starting out in regards to the new year. I want to start at Yobalim or Jubilees 6. When you see this, that new, who we call Noah, also kept the new year as well. New understood that what Yahuwah had given him was in line with the feast, because these feasts lie into the Shemayim. They are Shemayim feasts. They are Shemayim times, and our time must line up with his time. And what people don't really realize and understand is just because we are in captivity or the land of our captivity, when we turn back to the obedience and the power of the rule, we can find our times and we can keep our times regarding what Yahuwah has given us as a people, because this was given to the AbybYAH people. This was given to Yahshua, and so we can keep our times. Hallelujah. Before we start, Tell, you'll come and lead Yahuwah's Palah for me.
Abinu, Shabbat Bashmayi, Iskara Shimha, Tavo Mehuteha, Ese Rusomha, Baret Ashera, Shat Bashmayi, Tananu Hayam Mukemukenu, Attachment, Ese Skimananu, Sat Mulanu, who ought to be the new Elebusa, Kein Hasalenu, Mihara, Kelekan Hamalaka, or the Wura Patfele Amen.
Our Father, who lives in heaven, Kodesh is your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the esteem forever. In the name of all names, YAHUAH'S. Amen. Torah. So, we'll start right here in Yobalim or Jubilees 6 and 30. I want you to see that in Jubilees 6 and 30 so we can get an understanding. And this book, if you read Yobalim 6 and 30 or Jubilees 6 and 30, you will see that this story is about Nuh, our ancient father Nuh, after he landed off the ark. He is recorded times and seasons. We see recorded times and seasons, or what we call Muadym. Muadym, recorded times and seasons are recorded in this book for us to have a record of what times we keep. Hallelujah. So let's start at Yobalim 6 and 30, and then we'll go from there. In all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days. So that's 52 weeks. 52 weeks. And these will make an entire year complete. Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year from year to year. I see a lot of brews share this, but they never share the fullness of this. And I understand because they're getting what they understand and they're sharing a short version, but they never understand the fullness of this. So I want you to understand and hear what's being brought forth. And command you, the children of Yasharal, that they shall observe the years according to this reckoning, 364 days. And these will constitute a complete year. So 364 days constitutes a complete year. 52 weeks in a year at 364 days. Not 365 like the Goyim calendar teaches. Yahuwah's calendar is 364 days. 12 months. Everybody's on numbers. We got to understand that Yahuwah's number is 12, representing the 12 tribes, represents the 12 apostles, representing 12. You see 12. You see 12 stones. He always gives out 12. So this is what we want to understand. Let's go. And they will not disturb its time from its days, from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to the testimony. And they will not leave out any day or disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and years will be dislodged from their order. And they will disturb the seasons, and the years will be dislodged, and they will neglect their ordinances. So if they do disturb them, see, what you got to understand too is, it's just like the curses in Deuteronomy 28 or Deuteronomy 28. If you keep the commandments and keep the obedience of Yahuwah, then you receive the barakah or the blessing of Yahuwah. But if you do not keep the commandments, then you shall be cursed in the city, cursed in the field, the tail and not the head. People shall eat their children. Those things are said when you do not keep Yahuwah's commandments. So you got to understand, that's for people who are living rebelliously. That's for the people who we see that still keeping St. Patrick today, who are keeping Lent, who are keeping Christmas, who are keeping Halloween. Even though they're Abrit people, they are keeping the feast of the Goyim. That's the people who are neglected. Those who are coming in and understanding, following the leadership of the rule, those people are not neglecting anymore. They are seeking Yahuwah's times and seeking his Shabbat and seeking his commandments. Those people he will show all things to. So we have to put that in context. We can't use this scripture for people who are trying to walk in Torah. So let's finish reading. And all the children of Yasharal will forget and will not find past of the years, and will forget the new moons. Remember, I told you that means Hadash. That means the beginnings or the counting of times. And the seasons and the Sabbaths. And they will go wrong as to all the orders of the years. For I know from henceforth I will declare it unto you. And it is not of my own devising. For the Sephirah lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets, and the division of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant. They forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of other nations, after their error, and their own ignorance. Look at that. Look at that. So they begin to keep the feast of other nations. That's exactly what I just told you. That's why Yahshua had forgot Yahuwah's times. That's why he forgot the feast. That's why when you see in Nehemiah, or who we call Nehemiah, that's why they are restoring the feast back after they come back to Yahuwah. It's not because Yahuwah just removed it and make it confused. If they neglect Yahuwah's times and feasts, they fell into the hands of the times and feasts of the Goyim, or the other nations. For there will be those who will surely make observations of the moon. Joyful New Year. Joyful New Year. Hallelujah. For there will be those who will surely make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they disturb the order, and make an abominable day a day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the Kadash with the unclean, and the unclean day with the Kadash. For they will go wrong as to the months, and the Shabbatot, or Sabbaths, and feasts, and jubilees. For this reason I command and testify you, that you may testify to them. For after your death, your children will disturb them. Your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason, they will go wrong as to new moons, or the Hadash, that means the counting or the renewing. And we on Jubilees or Jubilees, Yobelim 6, and we read 30 through 38 for those who just joined us. and feast, and they will eat all kinds of blood. You seen that in Acts 15. He gave an instruction to tell the Goyim not to eat blood and things sacrificed to idols, and all with blood with all kind of flesh. So let's get an understanding. Let's get an understanding. This is the understanding I'm trying to give you. I started here to show you it was because of disobedience is why they lost this. But when you come back to the obedience, Yahuwah, the root enters you, then you will begin to keep times and laws and understand his new year and his feast and his Shabbat. You notice that in Yahusha time, they were keeping the Shabbat. Yahusha kept the same Shabbat with them. Therefore, they knew when the Shabbat was. Yahusha kept the feast with them. That means they knew when the feasts were. You can't say that you can't keep Yahuwah's feast or you don't know his times because they didn't know the times. That's not understanding. You got to get banal with this. So let's look at this. Let's go to Shemut or Exodus. And I want to start at 12 with Pasah, but I want to find, let's go to 12. Let's go to 12. Because I want to show you that Yahuwah, they knew what the months and times were. Why? How would they have these understandings of months and times? It's because Masha and Harun were of the tribe of Lewi. Their dad was who they call a Levite. And they knew the times because they went by Hanuk the scribe. Hanuk the scribe. A scribe means to write down things that Yahuwah has given you. To write down the words of Yahweh. That's why Yahusha rebuked the scribes and Pharisees. Because if the scribes were writing down the Kadash words, they should have known what Yahuwah was saying was to be true. They should have been expecting the prophecies to be fulfilled. That's why the scribe, so Hanuk the scribe. So let's look at Shemut or Exodus 12 and 1. Now pay attention to this. And Yahweh spoke unto Masha and Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, this month shall be the beginning of months, not moons. That word is not moons. This month shall be beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. That is Abib. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you that this is Abib. This is Shemot 12. Shemot 12 and 1. Not 21 and 1. This is Shemot 12 or Exodus 12 and 1. So, this shall be the beginning of months for you. Speak unto the assembly of Yasharal. In the 10th day of this month shall they take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for the house. So this is just on 10, the 10th day of the same month. So let's see where this month comes from. What month is he speaking of? So this right here is for Pesach. Throughout all generations, this is Pesach. I'm just giving you this to understand we're on the subject of a new year and the months of how to record his new year. So let's go to Shemut or Exodus 13 and we'll start reading. 13 and 1 first. So this is Exodus 13 and 1. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, sanctify me all the firstborn, whatsoever opens the womb on the children of Yasharal, both of man and of beast it is mine. And Moshe said to the people, remember this day, which ye came out of Mitzrayim or Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand Yahweh brought you out of this place. There shall be no hamatz eaten, that's leaven, no leaven eaten. This day ye came out in the month Abib. This day you came out in the month Abib. He recorded the first month. That's why he says this is the beginning of months. Now, how is he recording the months? How are they recording these months? I'm going to show you. And I'm not going to take a whole lot of time with this. I just want to show you that you shall record these months. And then we'll teach on Pesach and those things later as they come forward. This is the beginning of the month. So I'm going to show you this. Let's look at Hanuk. In some books it's 72, some books it's 71. Let's look at 72 though. This is the one in the updated Sefer. This is the Et Sefer updated. This is Hanuk 72. So let's look at Hanuk 72. And I want y'all to get an understanding of this when we share this, of what you're seeing, and understand how we are recording our days. And pay attention to the wording here. And this was the rule Yahweh that showed me this. I didn't have any idea of this. Matter of fact, when I was reading the book of Hanuk back in the time he gave it to me, I actually had highlighted this and put save for later because Yahuwah knew I wasn't ready to receive what he was going to show me regarding these times and days, because he had just begun to show me the Shabbat and just begun to show me the importance of it. And now I see and understand why he gave and showed this, that he showed me. So this is Hanuk, or who they call Enoch. Hanuk means dedicated one, to be dedicated. That's why Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the feast of the dedication. This is Hanuk 72 and 1. The Sefer, the letter or book of the revolutions of the luminaries of heaven, according to their respective classes, their respective powers, and their respective periods, their respective names, and places where they commenced their progress, and their respective months, which Uriel is the angel that showed him this. This actually means light is of Yahuwah, or light is of Elohim, because Elohim, Yahuwah is the only Elohim. So this is Uriel showing him the job that he's working in ordering these lights or these luminaries. The Kadash angel who was with me explained to me, he who conducted them, the whole account of them, according to every year. So we read in Jubilee 6 that every year is 364 days, 52 weeks in a year. That has to always line up in script. Line up on line, precept on precept, here a little, there a little. That must always line up. If it does not line up, then we must test that script, because throughout the book, it should always be 364 days. Among of the world forever, until a new work shall be effected, which will be eternal. And the luminaries revolve. I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes. I'm sorry. And this is the first law of the luminaries. What I had wrote there, I said the luminaries revolve, not haaretz, because the luminaries are revolving around a centered earth. The earth is stable. It's positioned. Hallelujah. It's a stable place. It has a position there. It is immovable. Everything revolves inside of the rakia or expanse above the earth. The earth is not revolving around stuff. That's heliocentrism that was taught in the 3rd century. The Abrit people did not teach that. So we must understand that to even grasp what Yahuwah is bringing to Hanuk through the angel Uriel. So let's keep going. This is the first law of the luminaries. The sun and light arrive at the gates of Shemaim, which are on the east, on the west of the western gates of heaven. So this is the first law. And I beheld the gates whence the sun go forth, and the gates where the sun sets, in which the gate also the moon rises and sets. And the conductors of the kakubun, or the stars, among those who perceive them, 6 at the rising, 6 at the setting of the sun. That's the 12 hours of daylight, but it's 24 hours. But you see 6 at the rising, 6 at the setting. So 6 at the rising, 6 at the setting. So that's what he's trying to show of the Bokar. All these respectively, one after another, are on a level, and numerous windows are right and on the left sides of the gates. And I'm only sharing this for the Abrit people. You know what I'm saying? You will miss the understanding if you go by the Gregorian or Goyim calendar. It's only for the Abrit people because Hanuk was teaching this to his sons. They understand this. You got to have this understanding in order to receive what's being said. And I'm going to touch a little more on that in a minute. Its chariots where it ascends, the wind blows, the sun sets in heaven, and returning by the north to proceed towards the east is conducted as to enter the gate and illuminate the face of heaven. I'm going somewhere. Here we go. In the same manner, it goes forth in the first month. Now, Yahuwah just told you when the first month was in Exodus or Shemot 12, and then explains the name of the first month in Shemot or Exodus 13. That name is Abib. If you look up the word Abib, you will get to spring forth or green ears. That is the budding of green ears at that time. It literally means spring. So the first month is literally called spring. You will look in the Hebrew, modern Hebrew text of the Jewish Ashkenazi Goyim, and they'll say that this is the Canaanite name for the new year. But that cannot be right because these were Yasharali. These were Yasharalim people that were actually getting the name Abib from Yahuwah's own mouth. Masha was not Canaanite. Masha was a son of Louis, or who we say Levi. So it cannot be Canaanite. Hallelujah. So in the same manner, it goes forth in the first month by the great gate. First month. If you write notes and you got book out and you want to take notes, because you'll see this on my notes when I share it in this link. The first month is AbybYAH. And that's what I call it, AbybYAH. That is the spring of Yah, or the spring of Yahuwah. So your first month, you should be writing down month 1, AbybYAH. Because that is recorded in the script. It goes forth through the 4th of the 6 gates, which are at the rising of the sun. And in the 4th gate, from when the sun rises in the first month, there are 12 open windows from which issue out a flame. They are open in their proper period. So you can write this down with it. Hallelujah. The sun is in the 4th gate in the first month. It starts at the 4th gate in the first month. Now, this is Hanuk getting this from the Shemayim. No regular man could understand this. Yahuwah had to show him this. Just like Yahuwah showed me what he had showed my ancient father, my Gadul Ab. My Gadul Ab, my great father, Hanuk, was shown this. So this is what you got to understand. So AbybYAH going through the 12 windows. So the sun is in the 4th gate in the first month. You got to remember that. When the sun rises in Shemayim and goes forth through this 4th gate, 30 days. So by the 4th gate in the west of Shemayim or heaven, on a level with it descends. So you write beside AbybYAH the first month, 30 days. That month is supposed to last 30 days. During that period is the lengthened from the day, and the night is curtailed from night for 30 days. And then the day is longer by 2 parts than the night. Why does it start saying the day is longer by 2 parts? Because you've already went through the window. At the beginning of this month is March 20th at sundown. That is the beginning of this time, because the day, the equinox, is equal parts or equal night. The day and night are equal. So you begin it at a time when there's equal part nights and day. If you look at the Goyim writings, they will even say that spring lasts from March 20th to, or they'll even say 21st, because you know how their calendar goes, the 21st, I think, to June 1st. If you look at that, that ranges from our first month to our third month. Now, if they know this, why isn't their calendar like this? That's what you got to understand. They have changed times and laws, like the book says. They know what time is right. They've just changed it. You get what I'm saying? Because they seen how we kept our times. They watched the Arbrit people. So here we go. The day is precisely 10 parts, and the night is 8 parts. The sun goes forth through this 4th gate, and set it in the turns to the 5th gate during 30 days. So it's going from the 4th gate to the 5th gate into the next month. After which it proceeds from and sets in the 5th gate. That's Shaniyah, the 2nd month of Yahuwah. Shani is 2. So Shaniyah is the 2nd month of Yahuwah. You should write beside it 30 days. So the first month is 30 days. The second month is 30 days. And then the day becomes lengthened by a second portion, so that it is 11 parts. The night becomes shortened, and it's only 7 parts. The sun now returns to the east, entering into the 6th gate, and rising and setting in the 6th gate 31 days. Now it went from the 4th gate in the first month, 5th gate in the second month. Now we're into the 6th gate. Watch this. This is Hanuk 72:17. Look at it. In the 6th gate, 31 days on account of its signs. Shalishiyah is 31 days. Shalishiyah, the 3rd month of Yah, is 31 days. That gives you 30, 30, 31. That gives you a 91-day quarter each time. So every quarter should have 91 days. That is the quarter of the 12 months of the 364 day year. So a quarter of that is 3 months. And those 3 months should be 91 days. 30, 30, 31. You cannot go by moon or lunar cycles doing this. You can't, because you're going to be off. Because they'll tell you that lunar cycles only last 28 days. They'll tell you this. They'll say, well, the lunar cycles are 28 days. Well, then you're missing some days. You're erring because you're following the moon. And he says the moon will bring it in 10 days too soon. That's why you see a lot of people who follow lunar cycles doing it on a different time than those who do it on this calendar. Because this is the pattern that Yahuwah gave to Hanuk. Just like we trust the Torah of Masha as the pattern that Yahuwah gave to Masha, this is the pattern given to Hanuk. We have to follow this pattern in order to get an understanding. We have not fully perfected it yet. I want to say that. This is not fully perfected. It's just like growing in the truth. I'm still growing in Yahuwah's truth as he shows me, and I'm learning. Just like Shaul says, we look through like a dimly lit glass. We're looking through a dim glass. We don't really have an understanding. The full understanding of what Yahuwah's trying to give us. This is the rule leading us to all truth. But this brings us out of Christmas, out of Bloody Bunny Day, out of St. Patrick, out of Valentine's Day, out of all the Goyim feasts, Thanksgiving and all that. This brings us away from that into an understanding of how to keep his times. But if you're not keeping his Shabbat, which is weekly, how can you keep all these yearly things? I love what Ahuti Zakaya said on her page. She was like, I can't give you the calendar if you ain't even trying to keep the Shabbat. Why would I waste my time giving you the calendar? That's why when we look at Uyakura 23, we're going to look at that. When you look at Uyakura 23, he starts with the Shabbat because that's the weekly feast. That's a weekly feast. So if you're not keeping the weekly feast, why is he going to give you the yearly calendar to keep his yearly feast? Loyal over a few things, and Yahuwah will make you ruler over many. You must be loyal in the small things first. Stop trying to jump into a depth of things when you're not even loyal to the small things that he's shown and given you. Hallelujah. So 91 days in those 3 months. AbybYAH 1, you should have 30 days. AbybYAH 2, you should have Shani Yah 2, which is the second month, you should have 30 days. And Shalishi Yah, which is the third month, you should have 31 days. At that period, the day is longer than the night, being twice the night, and becomes 12 parts. But the night is shortened and becomes 6 parts. The sun rises up, and the day may be shortened, and the night lengthened. The sun returns towards the east, entering into the 6th great gate, where it rises and it sets for 30 days. That's AbybYAH. That's the 4th month of Yah, 30 days. When the period is completed, the day becomes shortened precisely 1 part, and it is 11 parts, while the night is in 7 parts. The sun goes from the west, from the 6th gate, and proceeds eastward, rising in the 5th gate for 30 days. You see, it's going through these gates or portals. We're not revolving around the sun. That was taught by heliocentricists. They taught that the earth revolved around the sun because they worship the sun. The sun is in the Rakia, or in the Shemayim, and it's passing through these gates over us. It's passing through these gates. And it proceeds eastward, rising in the 5th gate for 30 days, setting again westward in the 5th gate of the west. That's Yah, 30 days. 5th month of Yah, 30 days. So the 4th month of Yah should have 30 days. The 5th month of Yah, you have 30 days. At that period, the day becomes short, 2 parts, and is in 10 parts, while the night is 8 parts. The sun goes from the 5th gate as it sets in the 5th gate of the west and rises in the 4th gate for 30 days. And on account of its sign setting in the west, Shashiyah, 31 days. So the 6th month of Yah is 31 days. Again, you have another 91-day period of 30, 30, 31. So there we go again. So the 4th, 5th, and 6th, every time you see 3rd, 6th, 9th, 12, you should have a 31-day period. This is right here in the book. And I'm sharing this because the rule impressed on me. I'm supposed to relax this Shabbat, not try to teach, not do anything, but last night he laid it on me. This morning he laid it on me because this is the new year. You need to keep up with this calendar. The new year started at sundown on the 20th. And then you record. Hallelujah. And the period of the day is made equal with the night. Being equal with it, the night becomes 9 parts and the day is 9 parts. The sun goes from that gate and sets in the west. By returning to the east, it proceeds by the 3rd gate for 30 days, setting in the west at the 3rd gate. YAHUAH, 30 days. That's your 7th month of Yah. Remember, a lot of our feasts are in the 7th month. Atonement, trumpets first, atonement, Sukkot. Those feasts are in our 7th month. So this is where the 7th month is. They can record the 7th month. They didn't have to say when the 7th month was. It was already recorded by our ancient father. It's kind of like the New Testament. The New Testament never tells you when the Shabbat is. It never breaks down when the Sabbath is. Why? Because it was already broken down when the Sabbath is. That's why even on what we call the 10 sayings or the 10 commandments, it says, remember the Sabbath. Remember it. It was already in existence. It was already known to the Abra people. So it's the same as this. You never see in the writings when the 7th month is because it was already written down by righteous Hanuk. Hallelujah. That period of night, so that's the 7th month of Yah, 30 days. This is 27. At that period of night, the night is lengthened from the day during 30 mornings, and the day is curtailed from the day during 30 mornings, the night being 10 parts precisely, and the day 8 parts. The sun goes down from the 3rd gate, and it sets in the 3rd gate in the west. But returning to the east, it proceeds to the 2nd gate at the east for 30 days. That is Shamunah Yah 30. Now what that is, the 8th month of Yah, 30 days. In like manner, it also sets in the 2nd gate in the west of heaven. At that period, the night is 11 parts, and the day is 7 parts. Then the sun goes at that time from the 2nd gate as it sets in the 2nd gate in the west, but returns to the east, proceeding by the 1st gate for 31 days. Tasha Yah. 31 days. Now watch this. Now it's preceding by the first gate. Remember, I told you that the year started in the fourth gate. So it started it's at the first gate, so it's got to go through 3 more gates. It's got to go through 3 more gates to get to that year. We're in the 9th month, Tashayah. Tasha means 9. So Tashayah is the 9th month. Guess what? 31 days. So there's 91 days again. You get what I'm saying? We're in the 3rd quarter. We haven't got to the 4th quarter yet. We're in the 3rd quarter right now. And it sets in the west in the first gate. At that period, the night is lengthened as much again as the day. It is 12 parts precisely, and the day is 6 parts. See there? And the sun has completed its beginnings, and the time goes around from these beginnings. Into the gate it enters for 30 days and sets in the west in the opposite part. Ashariah, 30 days. 10th month of Yah, 30 days. At that period, the night is contracted and is length of a 4th part, that is, and 1 portion, and becomes 11 parts. The day is 7 parts. So the night is longer than the day. We know this at that time. We know how winter operates. And the sun returns and enters into the 2nd gate in the east. It returns by these beginnings 30 days, rising and setting. Ashar Ahad Yah, 30 days. So that's 11. That's the 11th month of Yah. That's 30 days. Now watch this. At the period, the night is contracted by its length. It becomes 10 parts, the day 8 parts. The night is still longer than the day. The sun goes from the 2nd gate and sets in the west, but returns to the east and rises in the east. In the 3rd gate, 31 days, sitting in the west of Shemaim. Ashar Shaniyah, 31 days. That's the 12th month of Yah is 31 days. In that period, the night becomes shortened. It is 9 parts. The night is equal with the day. That's how we trace it. So the end of the year, the night is equal with the day. The year is precisely 364 days. Did you hear that? Just like we just showed you in Jubilees. The year is precisely 364 days. The lengthening of the day and the night, the contraction of the day and night are made to differ from each other by the progress of the sun. By means of this progress, the day daily lengthened, the night is greatly shortened. This is the law and progress of the sun. It's turning when it turns back, turning during 60 days going forth. This is the great everlasting luminary, which he names, the word is actually Shamash, but the sun forever and ever. This also is that which goes forth, the great luminary, which is named after its peculiar kind, as Elohim commanded. Thus it goes in and out, neither slackening or resting, but running on its chariot day and night. Its light is 7 times brighter than that of the moon, but the dimensions are equal. That's why when you see an eclipse, they are the same size. The moon blocks out the sun. Why? The dimensions are both equal. Do you see that? The light is 7 times brighter than that of the moon. That means the moon gives off its light, but the sunlight is 7 times brighter. Now, I finished that one, but I want to show you something else. So, before I go into what I'm going to go into, I want you to understand this. You should have 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. 30, 30, 31. You should have 4 quarters of 91 days. 31 days in those 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th months. You should have 31 days in those months to see that that time is right. That is the calculations and the mathematics that our Abrit people had. They had those calculations. So when you see the word in your King James, Salahi, forgive me. When you see new moon, that is wrong. It's not new moon. The word is Hadash. Hadash actually means a renewing. So they know that that time is renewing into that next count. It's a renewing into that next count. It's not a new moon. It is a renewing into the covenant that Yahuwah had already made with the luminaries. It's a counting of that next count. If you don't believe me, you need to look up these words for moon. Moon is Yara. Yara is moon, and Labanah is moon. Look up the Abrit words for moon. It's non-existent in the word that says new moon. It's actually a hadash. It means a renewing or a refreshing of something. They were just simply recounting. They were simply recounting. Hallelujah. So let's look at this. See if I can find it real quick. And Hanuk also talks about the quarters being 91 days too. But for the sake of time, I want to just go into these right here. I just want to go into these right here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Let's find it. Just go to it real quick. I believe it's Yobelim 6, but I'm trying to make sure I find the right one about the quarters to show you. Here we go. This is Yobelim 6 again. We're going back to Yobelim 6. And Salahi for the time I took to find it. I thought it was Yobelim 6, but I was trying to find another point. This is Yobelim 6 and 23. Pay attention to this. And I want you to see it. Now, it's going to say in your Sefer new moon because they're translating from the King James. But I'm going to say the renewing. The renewing, because that word hadash is the hot that starts it off. It's actually a ha sound. Hadash, which means renewing. You'll see it in the King James with a KH or kadash when you look it up in the Strongs. But it's hadash. Now look at this. I'm going to read it. Jubilee 6 and 23. And on the renewing of the first month, and on the renewing of the fourth month, and on the renewing of the seventh month, and on the renewing of the 10th month are the days of remembrance. That's why I said, YAHUAH. YAHUAH. That's why you kept seeing me say, YAHUAH. It's remembrance. It's rejoicing in Yahuwah to remember. Why are these remembrance? Watch this. Because 31 days is just passed from the 12th month. So when it renews into the first month, that's a time of renewing. Look, first month is going by quarters again. Fourth month, 7th month, and 10th month. Those are feast times. Those are times of remembrance in those times because you're going 3, 3, and 3. Those are the times of remembrance. So you got to understand, it's showing you the first month, the 4th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month are the days of remembering. Those are 3 months between each one. And for the 4 divisions, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. So you see, it's showing you that in those renewing, because watch this, I'm going to show you. After the 12th month, which is 31 days, you have AbybYAH. And then after Shalishiyah, which is the 3rd month, you have 31 days. You have YAHUAH, which is another renewing. And then after Shashiyah, which is 31 days, you have YAHUAH, which is the 7th month, which is another renewing. And then after the 9th month, Tashayah, you have a 31 days, which is another renewing. Look at that. So it covers the 4 quarters. So there's the renewing. That's why you see the 10th month mentioned and not the other way around, because you got to remember the 12th month, which is 31 days, up to the 10th month, because the 9th month is 31 days as well. So Barak Yahuwah, I just wanted to break that down to you, show you this. This is why they took these books out. This is why they removed these books, because they were trying to put in their times and laws. And you got to understand this. Salahi, I try to give you what Yahuwah has given me, but I have to learn how to break it down so you can understand what he's shown me, and so I can show you. So we're going to walk through this thing together, man, and walk in truth. But YAHUAH, rejoice in Yahuwah. Rejoice in Yahuwah, because this is the new year. This is recorded as the new year. Abib, spring is the new year. We're getting it right. We're getting it back together. We're walking in Yahuwah together. And it shows they removed these books because they wanted you to see their calendar. But even on their calendar, if you look in the 7th month, the 7th month should be September. September should be that 7th month. October should be the 8th month. November, Nuv is 9. Should be the 9th month. Deca is 10. Should be the 10th month, but Deca is 12. Why? Because they added Julius Caesar. They venerated him as a deity. Augustus Caesar, they venerated him as a deity. So now you have July and August, which pushed it 2 months back. You can see that. They knew that the year started in Abib, or spring. They knew this. You can see that. See, and we have to be careful, because even saying March was dedicated to their deity. But they knew that this time was a renewing time. They knew what this stuff was, but they worshiped man more than they worshiped Yahuwah. They had no concern for Yahuwah. So what we're seeing is, that's why when you start looking at this calendar, and when you see our time will fall between their 7th and 8th month. Why? Because our Shabbat falls between their pagan calendar. Our Shabbat falls on the evening side. You have to go by the moon's leadership. That's what it says. The moon brings on all the years precisely. That's in Hanuk as well. You'll see it on there when I write it. The moon brings on all the years precisely. It don't say the moon continues to bring on every month. The moon brings on all the years, because you have to start in the evening. So the March 20th, the equinox could happen at 11:58 or 10 something on the 19th. But you have to wait till March 20th to start your year at evening. At evening. It's the 20th at sundown. So that's why you see that it sits in the middle, like the Shabbat sits in the middle. Our times sit in the middle. And we'll be walking through this again. So I hope that you get some understanding. You should have these months listed out. They should be 30, 30, 31. 91-day cycles in each quarter. That's how you got to count it. Not by any lunar Sabbath, not by any lunar calendar. Lunar calendars, you're going to miss it. And then you're going to have to begin to lie and try to explain why you receive the lunar doctrines. And the lunar doctrines are nothing. They make no sense, because they're not renewing anything. They just see new moon. They just see new moon, and they think that that's what the word was. But see, we talked last Shabbat that just because you see something written there, you have to look at the arbit to see what it's actually relaying. Hadash means a renewal. It does not mean new moon. So this is Watchman Yahshay bin Yasharal saying Ahabu Shalom. Also relating to you to look into Yahuwah's text for yourself. Begin to pray and seek Yahuwah for yourself. We are growing in this. We are learning, and we are perfecting his times and everything that he has given us out of obedience to his Torah. So to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, and to the Goyim that's attached yourselves, to Yasharal, shalom to you all. And we're going to begin to start recording his times and feasts. And I'm going to try to stay on my end and on my job as a watchman to begin to just put out there what day it is and what time it is. Our year has just begun. Hallelujah. This is our new year. This is when we're supposed to rejoice. You know, this is that's why I said Hak Samak Abib, because we should be rejoicing in the festivals that lie within Abib. The feast times lie within Abib. We're about to come up on Passover, which on the Goyim calendar is April 2nd, but that's the 14th day of Abib. We will be keeping Pesach. And then on the 15th day, we'll be keeping unleavened bread. And then we just count. It's just numbering and counting, because Yahuwah has already given the pattern to his people. You'll actually see 364 days in there. You get what I'm saying? Let me read this and then I'm done, because I want to read 24. And Nu ordained them himself as feasts for generations forever. Forever. Nu did it. This is before Moshe and the Torah. Think about that. He ordained these as feasts for himself forever. Why? Because Yahuwah had given him these times. His father, Hanuk, his great father, taught him these things with Methuselah, who was Hanuk's son. He was Hanuk's great grandfather, great grandson. Noah was. He was his great grandson. You got to understand, this was taught to him. So watch this, and then I'm going to read 25. So that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the renewing, because that's no new moon there, and on the renewing of the first month, he was bidding to make for himself an ark. Wow. So in the renewing of the new year, Yahuwah was finna wipe clean, do some spring cleaning. He was finna do some earthly spring cleaning. He was bidding to make for himself an ark on that day. And the earth became dry. And he opened the ark and saw the earth. So let me say that clearly. So it became thereby a memorial unto him. And on the renewing of the first month, he was bidding to make for himself an ark. And on that day, the earth became dry. And he opened the ark and saw the earth. So he'd seen that. He's seen that he was bidden to make an ark in the renewing of the year. You get what I'm saying? In the renewing of the year, he was told to build an ark. So this is the calendar is being counted even back in news time. Even back in news time, the calendar was being recorded. So there is a definite timepiece and timestamp for Yahuwah to show us. That's why we say, you see those memes on Facebook, you see there is no way that a new year can start in the dead of winter. That thing was started in the dead of winter in January to the two-faced deity that they worshiped, which was the deity of open doors and open pathways. That's when that started. You get what I'm saying? That's when that happened. Those doorways, they would begin to worship these devils for doorways. So, and on the renewing of the fourth month, and the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And the renewing of the 7th month, all the mouths of the abysses in the earth were open, and the waters began to descend into them. So he began to bring the earth back into peace from the flood that he had done. You get what I'm saying? Yahuwah had begun to bring the earth back into peace. Look into this chapter, Jubilees of Yobelim 6, and begin to read for yourself. But I gave you the timestamp and the calendar. So, Barak Yahuwah for that, man. Thank y'all for watching. Shabbat Shalom. I hope you received an understanding. I will put the calendar inside this video. And I just want y'all to know that we're trying to walk in righteousness and bring it to the people for them to understand as well. Those in Yahshua who want to walk in righteousness. It's not for the entire world. These videos are for Yahshua and their love for Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Shalom.